single day.
Hey, Sheriff County, this is Sheriff County Cop Watch, and I got to make another comment on our out-of-control Punta Gorda police lawyer. Again, sadly, David Levin wants to violate free speech and your right to freedom, period, unless they agree with it. This is completely out of fucking control. Let's do a quick history. First of all, years ago, just because we were exposing the public corruption, city corruption, the police corruption, asking for records, and documenting with cameras in public areas of buildings the government owns, they banned filming and trespasses from everywhere, so we couldn't expose that. That's illegal. Then, because people were exposing the corruption on the street that they didn't agree with, and here's what I mean by that, because if you were BLM, oh my God, they kneeled with you, man. Are you serious? They fully supported them 2 times, didn't charge them for all the fucking police presence that they needed for that, and for the people that love abortion and to kill babies. Totally support them. Had tons of police presence there. Didn't charge them for that. But yet they ban free speech because of me, because I'm out exposing it on the street, because I exposed it online and we have the documents to prove they did just like what the FBI is doing to Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all that shit. They fucking struck my shit down. I have millions of views online, 200 million views, 200,000 subscribers plus. It's all gone. YouTube's gone, Facebook's gone, TikTok's gone. It's all gone. Why? Because these motherfuckers had them strike the shit down. And now, because you're supposed to have free speech on a government-ran Facebook page. Oh, and by the way, we kicked their ass in state court. We're going to kick their ass in federal court on banning free speech, which I got 8 tickets for, thousands of dollars worth of fines. And then, because I sued them twice, they illegally arrest me, put me in jail for 30 days. That's another huge lawsuit that's coming. Now they want to ban free speech online. This is like, I know people that are leaving that are calling this place Auschwitz, Germany, because it is. Look at this shit. Now you can't have free speech on Facebook. A government-ran Facebook page is just like the fucking sidewalk in front of City Hall or the police station. Free speech. And now these motherfuckers want to ban it online. This is completely out of control. You are knowingly doing this shit. Your immunity is fucking gone. You Nazi motherfuckers, man. Get the fuck out of our country. If you hate freedom this much, get the fuck out of our country. We were here first. We fought for freedom, not for your goddamn fascism. Get the fuck out of our country. Go to North Korea, China, Cuba. I don't give a shit. Putin would fucking love your ass. Get the fuck out of our country. It's called free speech. It's called redress. What the hell has happened to America? Our founding fathers didn't kill the red coat British police for freedom. They killed them because they were taxing them, illegally entering their house and illegally taking their guns. Our founding fathers would be shooting by now if they were here. What the hell has happened to you people? You old farts. You grew up with less cops, less government, less taxes, and now you want to give us all of that plus more? Total fucking socialist fascism, socialism, whichever. They both suck. Republicans suck. Democrats suck. We need a constitutionalist. We need the Constitution, period. We need to get back to it. They didn't fight to make everything illegal, and now it is? You keep saying we're free, yet we have the most amount of people in jail and prison than the whole rest of the fucking world? Florida's number 3. Wake the fuck up, people, and take a goddamn puncher back while you still can. This is unfucking believable. Wake up.
Disinformation on Facebook, how Facebook's algorithms are directing political speech, and some debates around that. Obviously, we have a Twitter presidency here now, where the President of the United States has 50 million Twitter followers, and in a recent case brought by the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia University, challenging the blocking of certain users from the president's and nominatively private Facebook account that was later found to be a public forum. They talk about the importance of the president's Twitter account to announce, describe, and defend his policies, to promote his administration's legislative agenda, to announce official decisions, to engage with foreign political leaders. All of these things that we think about as traditional governmental functions are part of the reason that the Second Circuit Court of Appeals found that it was a public forum for the purposes of First Amendment law. In addition, said that foreclosing access to social media altogether prevents the user from engaging in legitimate exercise of First Amendment rights. And as a basis of that decision, they say that for many, social media is a primary way that we know current events, that we check ads for employment, that we speak and listen in the modern public square, and otherwise explore the vast realms of human thought and knowledge. It's thought that Facebook is sort of this modern town square, and we'll talk about that and whether that has constitutional implications. And here's where we're talking. So constitutional concerns, this should be fairly quick. I've had to call this down, arguments on both sides because of some recent decisions, but we can run through it relatively quickly. Again, this is the Knight Institute versus Trump lawsuit that I talked about that started in the Southern District of New York and eventually made it to the Second Circuit. These were users on Twitter, a social media platform, who had been blocked by the president. The president said that, you know, I've got my professional account and I've also got my individual account, and all of these users that I've blocked are from my individual account. So he had this account well before he was in the political sphere. This was his personal account, but the Second Circuit and really the Southern District of New York didn't stop there. What they wanted to do was really determine whether or not the president had opened up his online platform as a public forum for the purposes of free speech. They found that it did. The Second Circuit did, and they said the First Amendment does not permit a public official who utilizes a social media account for all manner of official purposes to exclude persons from otherwise open online dialogue because they expressed views with which the official disagrees. So there are ways in which the Constitution and First Amendment can be implicated online, but it's not necessarily in the ways that some folks have posited, specifically some members of Congress that we'll look at in a little bit.
Has it been appealed to the Supreme Court?
I don't know. I know this decision. Yeah, I don't know that answer. I think that it has, and I think that cert has been denied. But I'm not positive about that. I could check. So one thing that you see, and certainly from prominent politicians out here, is trying to make this constitutional argument that Facebook is the new public square. Folks that make this argument are primarily relying on a series of really actually old cases. Some of you may remember from constitutional law, Marsh versus Alabama. This is the company town case where a private company had a town with a post office, streets, sidewalks, and were tried to prohibit a Jehovah's Witness from passing out leaflets. When they arrested her for trespass, the town said, you know, we are not a state actor for the purposes of the First Amendment. We can do whatever we want. This is private property. The Supreme Court said the more an owner opens up and performs a traditional public function that can transform a nominatively private actor into a state actor for purposes of First Amendment analysis, and it's really a threshold question, so it becomes, it gets you into that scrutiny analysis of whether these regulations need to be governed by the First Amendment. This was a common argument saying that Facebook is the new public square. As much as private entities had company towns, now in the modern era, we have, you know, all these billions of users worldwide. We have political activity going on it all the time. It's really the new shopping center or public square. These arguments were largely debunked in a case this summer called
There has been so much publicity recently about incidents on college campuses where speakers are shouted down, shut down, violently disrupted. Do they have a right to be protected from these kinds of shout downs, which are called the heckler's veto? My name is Nadine Strawson. I am a professor of constitutional law at New York Law School and the former head of the American Civil Liberties Union. Do you have a right to engage in a heckler's veto and to stop somebody whose ideas you hate from expressing those ideas? The answer to that question is no. The heckler's veto violates the speaker's First Amendment free speech rights. The so-called heckler's veto also violates the First Amendment rights of audience members who want to hear that unpopular message. And it's very interesting to note that the Supreme Court came up with the concept of an illegal heckler's veto in the context of the 1960s civil rights movement. Today, we usually see the heckler's veto wielded in an attempt to suppress racist or other hate-mongering speech. It's really important to know that it is a neutral concept that often, and from its beginning, has been used to protect the speech of civil rights activists. Back in the 1960s, when in many parts of the country, Martin Luther King and other civil rights activists had messages that were deeply unpopular and controversial, government officials tried to stop them from speaking and from demonstrating, arguing that there would be violent disruption by people who disagreed with their messages. And in fact, there was violent disruption. Rocks were thrown, bottles were thrown, people were injured. And the United States Supreme Court said this constitutes an illegal heckler's veto. Government must use all of its available resources to prevent the violence. So, in a nutshell, do those who disagree with, object to, do they have a right to exercise a so-called heckler's veto? No! A heckler's veto violates very important First Amendment rights. My name is Nadine Strawson. Thank you for listening to Talks on Law.